Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, October the 17th, 2024. It's another Technical podcast. Glad you could join us today. Hope you're having a good one. It is frickin' cold today. I left the house this morning to take him to work, and it was legitimately damn near 0 degrees, and I was not ready. My body was not ready. Nothing about me was ready for 0 degrees. None, even less of me was prepared for the fact that my windshield needed to be scraped. And we talked about this, I think, even last podcast, so it was not last 2 weeks ago. The moment I got to take a scraper out, it's bad news. It's game over. Luckily, I didn't have to take one out because I did the cheap thing. You know, it was frosted up bad, but I gambled. And I think everyone has made this gamble at least once before. You might be asking, what the hell is the gamble? What could possibly be the gamble here? You use your windshield wiper fluid and you pray to fuck that shit cleans up with nothing but liquid and dreams. And that can go both ways. It can clean it up, or it can just fucking make it worse. Thankfully this morning, it was just warm enough. It was like 2 degrees outside, just warm enough. Windshield wiper fluid came in the clutch. Didn't have to get the scraper out. Huge dub.
The dream.
We live another day. Besides that, got another great show lined up for you today. But before we get started, as usual, Mr. Black, most important question of the week. How was your week?
Week was pretty bad. I was sick for some of it. We had some sort of stomach bug virus, something that was going. So like last week on the podcast, I thought it was just bad food that I ate. Remember, we did all the casts and we're like, yeah, my ass on fire. Well, it was on fire. And then that same night, as soon as I was done casting, Kayla starts power puking. Kai starts throwing up. Just went through the whole house. So I just had the shits and I fought like being sick pretty much the whole time. But you know, they were actually sick. So and then since I have IBS, when my stomach when I just drain out like that, and I like, it takes me a solid almost a week, like 5 days before normalcy starts kicking in. I just had like my first like semi meal about 2 hours ago. I barely eating food, or just minimal stuff. But yeah, it was a rough week. It was fucking rough.
That's the second stomach bug to go through that house in like a month.
Well, it was about 2 months ago. Months ago. I know it feels like a month, but it was about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Where we had the other one. So there's just shit just going around.
Damn.
It seems like I'm the one that caught it first. So I have no idea. I might get it
wherever that would have been, gym maybe. So,
yeah. But I mean, outside of that, it's just been it's been a week. I'm still like, I just had a power nap about from like 2 o'clock till 2:40 or whatever. So I'm still waking up, but pardon me, I'm still fucking bloated, still. Gassy,
dude, when you proper empty yourself, your body does not simply bounce back from that. It's a tiring affair. Your electrolytes are shot. You have no energy for like at least a couple of days just trying to get your electrolytes back up. It's like as soon as I start shitting like that, my first thing is I'm like, all right, somebody find me some damn Gatorade. I live on Gatorade until the storm passes, just to try to keep myself from inverting. But yeah, no, that's horrible. The stomach bug stuff is just the fucking worst. And there's been a fair amount of it, like you were saying. There's a fair amount of it going around this year.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get to celebrate Thanksgiving, so this all happened. So basically, I was feeling like ass on Thursday, and then I was feeling like ass all the way until about Tuesday, so like 2 days ago. But I was able to kind of still like stream and do like do things, but it's just uncomfortable the whole time, just miserable. Course. Waking up all hours of the night. I ate so much like Pepto and fucking like every type of med you can think of. I finally got my prescription.
Did you get to the point where you were literally like the Pepto was no longer in the cap? You were just drinking it straight out the bottle?
No, well, I take the tablets, so I can't drink the stuff because it just it tastes so bad. But yeah, no, I finally got my prescription for like I used to be on some stuff it's like a really it's much more powerful than say a Pepto or a Gas X or something like that. So I just had my first pill today. So I feel like my stomach actually feels fine right now. I'm just like fucking drained and just like kind of
of course.
But beyond that, I'm feeling a lot better now.
Good.
Yeah, I just took the morning off, just kind of relaxed. I still went to the gym and fucking got a few things done, but we're here. I wasn't gonna skip out on another week. I'm good enough. Like I'm way better than I was last week. But yeah, we didn't do anything for Thanksgiving. So I have all the family coming over this weekend. So on Saturday, all the family's coming over and we're gonna have turkey and all that stuff. We're gonna do it this weekend. So
turkey's not going anywhere. It can be done whenever you want. Although I did hear a crazy random thing when I was in Costco here the other day, like 2 days ago now, and I was in the meats section, and somebody was talking to one of the butchers. They clearly knew them, like friends or whatever. They were having like a casual conversation about stuff outside of work. And but then they were talking about like the guy was like, "Where are all the turkeys?" And he said they froze them like the day after Thanksgiving for the first time like he's ever seen them do that. And when I heard that, I was like, "The fuck!" And they instantaneously froze all. You couldn't get a turkey in Costco. There was nothing there. Man was in shambles. Apparently, he was looking for a little post Thanksgiving turkey himself.
Yeah, we've had our turkey's still sitting upstairs, so it's still
ready to go.
Ready to go.
Well, thankfully, I wasn't shitting myself dry over the last 2 weeks. Thankfully, I'm actually really shocked that more doesn't go through this house because M is working at the hospital and she's working with people like half the people she works with don't even bathe. Like that's who she's working with. There's one guy in particular recently who literally hadn't showered in 5 months. She said she can take a lot of like potent odor because she worked the old folks home. She's been elbow deep in some shit literally. And it doesn't, a lot of stuff doesn't bother her, but she was like, man, some of the people she's been working with the last couple of weeks, like athlete's foot is just rampant through the ward right now. And she said it's fucking taking her out the game every time she goes into work. But yeah, I mean, we just, maybe that's it, is that she's constantly exposed to shit all the time. Maybe that's the solution. I don't fucking know, but we've gotten lucky so far this year. Cause yeah, like you guys, even other people that don't have kids, like a lot of it is just you have a kid and that's just, kid often. This time it seemed like maybe you were the one to bring it in, but in general, the kids are just bringing everything home. And this year's been a stomach flu year for sure.
Yep.
Last couple of years were like the respiratory. This year seems to be everyone's just getting.
I would much rather
viruses.
Respiratory shit personally. I'd much rather be stuffy. Having like sort of a dry chest, but this stomach shit where you just feel like you're gonna puke all day, every day. It's just can't sleep, can't do. It's just so it's draining mentally. It's just like, and then I get like bad anxiety just thinking about like I need to eat food. I barely
need to do
food,
something.
But if I eat food, I'm probably gonna feel like shit. Here we go. It's like just a vicious cycle. So that's been my week. It's been not been fun, but we're here.
Yes,
we're better. So let's go.
Yeah. We did have Thanksgiving. It was after we did ours on Monday because my birthday, 36th, was on Sunday. I don't feel a day over 39, so that's good. We had a little bit of just Em and I just went out for lunch. I don't like doing a lot for my birthday. I'm not like a big birthday person. I literally just want some food. Maybe if mom's feeling up to it, make a chocolate cake. I'm a happy guy. That's literally like I'm good.
I mean, Adam, I think that's most dudes, right? I think most dudes is like good meal. Let me do the things I want to do for the day.
Just chill.
And I want to get laid at the end of the night. That's
and Em, unfortunately,
boom.
Em was like, we need to go out. We have to go out. She's Filipina. They celebrate birthdays like you're dying every year. It's like this is the last birthday you're ever gonna have. Everything has to be this extravagant fucking crazy. So I talked her down to let's just go out for lunch. So we got down to that much. So we went downtown. She wanted to go back to this place that she and a friend of hers had gone to not long ago. It's I can't remember the name of it, but it's one of the new spots in the Queen Marquee downtown. In that new pavilion. Have you been in there yet? You've been down to the Queen Marquee yet? It's quite it's they spent several dollars at that place. But the restaurant we went to, it's like a Cafe Luna or something like that. Anyway, it was okay. It was pretty good. It wasn't bad. It was like most places in Halifax, it's teetering this weird line between like you're getting pretty good food, but somehow it's always not cooked properly. It's like a weird Halifax thing that I don't understand. And then they also do the classic Halifax thing where they take literally any restaurant concept and then turn everything on the menu into French, not for the sake of being in Canada, but like Parisian French. Like, so all the menu is like in French, and it's just so that they can charge more money because it sounds fancy. Instead of saying steak and eggs or steak and fries, it's like steak frites and all this other bullshit on the menu. So they can charge another like $7 because it sounds fancy.
Le steak.
Le steak.
extra $10.
So, but no, I mean, no, it was good. It was not a bad spot, but yeah, so did that, came home and just chilled. Basically, that was it for the birthday. That's all I really wanted. And then because my birthday this year basically fell on Thanksgiving, more or less, we did Thanksgiving on Monday over at Ma and Pa's, and so when Mom was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" I said, "Just turkey dinner. Just give me turkey dinner. I'll be good. Pumpkin pie. That's exactly what we got." And so I was a happy man. Then after that, just been continuing to mod Skyrim like it's my job, even though it's clearly not. And it's been going well. Everyone's starting to go stir crazy on the stream. Everyone thinks I've like officially lost my mind.
Adam, you've been doing that shit for like a month, bro.
I know.
Do you actually play the game? Like, are you actually going to play the game when it's done, or are you just modding it to mod it?
No. I want to play it when it's done. I just like and I'm sure you understand this to some degree. You're just better at ignoring it than I am as a streamer. If I wake up and the first thing I'm thinking about is what am I going to do in like any given game, that's a pretty good sign that I'm actually like marginally enjoying myself. And if I wake up and I think, okay, so today this game came out, I should probably play this game today, and my first thought is, fuck me, I don't really feel like playing this game right now, even if it's a good game.
I'm surprised you haven't been playing Silent Hill 2. I'm planning to do that.
Yeah, so that might be my break around Halloween or whatever. I'll like probably pop that on for Halloween because it's
that looks
apparently
fire.
Not bad, which is a miracle because for the longest time, all the preview materials that they showed off, I was like, nah, this looks terrible. But they pulled it out. They managed to make it work. So I'm probably gonna stop for that. And otherwise, I mean, there's other games that have come out too. Like I didn't even finish Astrobot yet. I'm like halfway through Astrobot.
So you know what I find? I find with games like Astrobot, like those platformer type games, I feel like I don't know what it is about those games. When I stop, I have a hard time getting back into it. Like, but it's like when I'm in it, it's like I'm go.
Yes.
But then if I take a break, it's like, oh my God, it's just like I don't know I have no idea what it is, but it's just.
Which is weird because, like, with platformers, they're like they should theoretically be one of the easiest ones. Yeah.
Yes.
And yet, no, but I agree. It's hard
you get
to
into you get into a groove, like you just get into like this sort of I don't know what it is, man. It's with those games.
I feel you. I'm like that. I think you know what though. I feel like I'm like that with every game now. The moment I put something down, I have a really hard time going back and continuing it again. I don't know if that's because a lot of the games that I've played in recent times have been kind of games as a service based thing, and when you stop playing, you just feel like you've fallen behind. You don't want to bother anymore, or if it's something else. I think to some degree, it's just I don't know. I don't know if it's because I'm a creature of habit, and the moment that I break that habit, it's game over. The game's dead to me. And then I'm like forcing myself to go back. I don't know, but I feel like that about lots of games these days. The moment I stop, there's a running joke on my stream. Drekka fucking coded a bot specifically for this purpose, which it runs the background and it counts how many days it's been since I played Guild Wars 2 with Fox. Because I was like, I bought the expansions. We had played like, I don't know what it was, like a week or two of it, like just no lifing it. And then I put it down to do like Astrobot and other stuff. And then eventually it'd been so long and Fox had kind of given up hope. And so Drekka coded a bot that literally counts how many days it's been since and at this point it's like fucking like 3 or 4 months at this point. And it's like, it's the same thing. Like Guild Wars 2, fucking awesome game. Really enjoyed my time with it. I just feel like it's hard for me to dive back in. Maybe it's like I'm spoiled for choice. Maybe that's the problem. There's so many games. It's
like Netflix.
You just get paralyzed.
It's like Netflix, right? Sometimes I lay in bed and I'm like, okay, like say Kayla and I, we finished Love is Blind or something, right? And it's like, okay, what do we watch? Dude, I could spend 2-3 nights just going through it. I don't know about that. Okay, that's sort of on the short list. Okay, let's keep going. Eventually, like an hour has passed, and then it's like kind of then too late to start something. Like, okay, I'll do that tomorrow. It's the same sort of deal. I get it. I know the struggles.
Fuck. All right, well, let's
Adam, we're getting old, bro.
Let's just.
Oh,
I know.
One last thing before we get started. Yes? I got this.
Oh shit! You actually got sent the purple bleeding heart from Twitch.
I did. Yeah, this is the 5 million hours watched. The
Incredible.
Next one's at 50 million, and I'm at like 16 million, so I'll never see it.
Good luck.
I at least got this one.
That's dope. That's actually kind of dope.
And dude, this thing
weighs a ton.
Like, oh, bro, it's like I could curl it. You could do it's like a brick.
You could weaponize it if you needed to in case of emergency.
Oh, bro, they ain't surviving. Let's put it that way. Like it's just got heft. Like I'm gonna sit this down. Listen to this. Just sat that down.
Loud enough that your microphone cut that shit out because it peaked too. It peaked too loud. That's dope though. I wonder, is there any way to see that number running on your account to see where you're at, like in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, it's on the back end.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I'll take a look. I'm probably at like 1 million or something like that over all these years.
Yeah, I'll try and find exactly where it is for you and then tell you which, because Twitch's back end.
Oh, it's a mess. It's telling me to do my tax thing again already, and can I just say that every time that comes up, I want to punch somebody. Like it should be saying, "Do you need to update your tax information with us?
Is this the same? Yes or no?
Yes,
no,
great,
do another
done.
One. Yes, exactly. But it's never like that.
No,
and it's
redo
Twitch ain't the only one that does. Twitch isn't the only one that does this shit.
No,
fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't know where that is. I'll have to take a look on the back end sometime, see where I'm at. Yeah, that shit drives me absolutely crazy.
Brutal.
Shall we talk about some video game news?
Do we have to?
We can try anyway, and we put an effort in.
Right,
this is we got a couple of mildly interesting things that happened. Now, some of these obviously happened last week when we didn't have the chance to do the podcast, but Mr. Black, it's almost like they're listening. 343 Industries made some big announcements. They are now called Halo Studios. They are dropping the 343 Industries name entirely. They're rebranding as Halo Studios. They are moving everything to Unreal Engine 5. No more Slipstream engine or Slipspace or whatever the fuck that engine was called. Unreal Engine 5 only. They've apparently spent 2 years working on Project Foundry, which was kind of a research project to trial Halo in Unreal Engine 5, which is what the trailer of It's not really in-game per se, but it, just from a visual perspective, gives you an idea of what it might look like. That's where all that went into, is getting the studio ready for this transition. They're also hiring people at the moment for what sounds like multiple projects. So when you listen to the video, the way that they talk about it, it doesn't sound like they're focusing on a single Halo project at any given time. It sounds like they want to spin up multiple Halo projects, presumably because Unreal Engine 5 is a kind of ubiquitous engine that they can hire for and not have to retrain people whenever they enter the company like they did with their previous engine. And I guess then the base assumption is they can therefore hire people to just do more projects because they're not spending time and resources training them on the in-house engine. A report rolled out that outlined that some 95 staff were laid off up to this point, and that there was much conflict within the company between those who wanted to move to Unreal Engine 5 and those who wanted to stick with Slipspace. As I have my notes here, guess who probably got fired? Given they're moving to Unreal Engine 5. Openings for things like creative directors, lead game system designer, senior technical designer, and others kind of shows that much of the top end of the studio has been swapped out. So this isn't like a bunch of the cogs and the wheels got swapped out per se. This sounds like a lot of the higher end leadership roles also either got previously swapped out. As we already know, 343 had a lot of shakeup at the managerial level as Infinite kind of shit the bed. But now it looks like they've done even more of that, and now we're rehiring to replace all of these people and add more people on top of that. I suspect that's also part of, why they're rebranding themselves, because at this point, it's kind of like the ship of Theseus. How many people can you take out of the company and replace before it's no longer 343 Industries? And there's obviously also a lot of negative sentiment around 343 Industries as a developer. So I'm sure to some degree they're hoping if they change the name, some people might stop associating them with that older company that is at this point not even remotely close to the same. Although I will say this, after watching that little vignette thing, I still don't think they understand Halo. I think they understand how to put Halo in Unreal Engine 5, but I don't think that they understand Halo. The way they're talking about it doesn't instill any more confidence than the vignettes that 343 Industries did, with the exception of 343 on camera literally admitting, we don't know anything about Halo. That was, other than that, they are saying, things that, they're focusing so much on visuals and the graphic elements and shit and creating Halo for like the new age audience, whatever the fuck that means and shit. And just the verbiage they used in it was not particularly inspiring. So we're just going to have to wait. You can put lipstick on a pig. You know what I mean?
Still a pig.
Still a pig. And so we're going to have to wait. And at this point, like, even if this is all well-intentioned, I am so fucking put off by what they've done with Halo that they're going to need to hit an absolute grand slam for me to even look in their general direction. Like, they've fucked it so hard that at this point, Halo is kind of just dead to me. I've turned on Infinite like once or twice every 6 months for like an hour and a half, and then I'm like, oh yeah, right. They haven't really done anything. Case in point, Halo Infinite was going to be a 10-year-long project.
No, it ain't.
No, it ain't. It's dead. So, I don't know. I'll ask you this, because I know in the grand scheme of things, you couldn't possibly care less about Halo. But so I'll ask you to make some predictions here. Dude, I'll just ask you this. Do you think that after having Halo be the struggle bus it's been for like 10 years now, that it's a wise idea to hire and try to do multiple Halo projects all at the same time instead of focusing on a single project, at least for the first one?
I mean, my gut is telling me no. No, but it all depends on what those projects are. Like, sometimes sometimes people announce things and these projects are like really small, like really like, you know, one could be an animated series, which I know in the grand scheme of things might actually be quite big, but it might have nothing to do with the developing of a game. One might be a fucking line of toys. One might be a an expansion to something. One might be I don't know. There's no way that they're developing like a bunch of AAA titles or a bunch of things. Listen, bro, Halo is, I want to say dead. It's not dead, but it's like
life support.
Yeah, it's been that way. And the thing is I don't think it's ever going to get off life support. I've said it before. I think what's going to happen is Halo will probably exist for the next decade plus, but in such a smaller capacity than what it's been in its heyday, that like there will be some marginal success if they keep the games at a certain budget and at a certain level of expectation. But if they're trying to come out the gate like another Call of Duty or any other large AAA title, it is going to fall flat on its face. And that's just that. I just don't think Halo's ever going to have a resurgence on that level ever again. And it's mainly, number one, to do with how many bad titles they've had in a row. But also, I just think the gamers in themselves have just moved on from Halo. I just have. Like the masses. And and I think that might be part because of the shitty games that have been going on and they've been burned so many times. So I just think that they've fallen in love with other things or whatever. Because at the end of the day, man, the majority of people that play these types of games were not like sweaty Call of Duty 1v1 Battle Royale fucking heroes. These are games to play with your friends. These were like this was a type of game that, at least for me, and the majority of people that I ever known,
but it wasn't the same type of
wasn't the same type of sweat. It wasn't. It's not the same type of sweat. Don't get it twisted. There are sweaties out there for every game, Halo included.
Of course.
But from like the larger demographic, right? It seems like it's more of a community-based or like a friend-based game where you find a lot of your enjoyment with your buddies. And the thing is, if your buddies aren't down to play Halo, you just likely aren't going to play Halo.
Follow up. Was it a mistake when they made Infinite to ignore Battle Royale? And do you think they will ignore Battle Royale a second time?
Yeah, I think they will. It would just be more negative press. Oh, desperation. Oh, Halo Battle Royale? No, that ain't it. This ain't Halo.
Do they have anything to lose at this point, though? Like, at this point, do you just do it because you're trying to find a new audience? Like, they kind of have to, don't they?
I mean, they do have stuff to lose. They actually have their core now to lose, and they've already been losing a ton of it. I mean, if people want to go play Battle Royale, there's 15 other games to do it. And I just think by the time another Halo comes out, which is going to be years from now, let's just say 5-6 years from now, another Halo comes out, dude, Battle Royale might be fucking dead. Like the genre in itself. We talked about this before. I forget for what game it was, but it was like, it was the game that went under for like $400 million or some shit, right? Whereas okay, this seemed like a great idea 8 years ago, but here we go.
The Overwatch
now
clone.
The game, exactly, the Overwatch clone. I think it's the same sort of deal here with Halo. I think if they go into battle, if they were gonna do the Battle Royale, they should have done the Battle Royale for Infinite or the one that was before Infinite, right? They didn't do it. And they're probably kicking themselves because that might have opened up more people, especially if it's free to play. You get everybody kind of playing Halo. But then again, tons of people are accustomed to fast-paced, respawn, let's get it going type of battle royales. And Halo, if it's going to be a Halo game, would undoubtedly be a much slower paced battle royale. You know, even just the running in Halo, everything about Halo is just slower. And yeah, it could be cool to have the cars and driving around. You get Gatling guns and all this other shit. But at the same time, dude, Halo maps are pretty fucking big to begin with, or at least some of them. You still kind of get that feel just from a regular Halo game. Yeah, I no. I don't think they go Battle Royale. I think it'd be a bad life choice.
I feel
I
like
just think making another Halo is a bad life choice.
for the
Personally.
it's fair enough. For the reason you just mentioned, and it's not that I disagree with you, is for the reason you just mentioned, I think that's exactly why they're going to do Battle Royale. I think they're going to go in on it, even though they probably shouldn't. I think internally right now between Microsoft and what is now Halo Studios, which by the way, their new logo looks fucking horrendous. One of the ugliest logos I've seen in a hot minute. But at least they're not named after a character in the Halo franchise that literally fucking backstabs the Master Chief. The irony of naming your studio 343 Industries was just fucking goddamn incredible. But I think they are at this point. I think internally they probably feel like, okay, Infinite was at a macro level perhaps a failure from what we were striving for it to be. But they pulled up, they didn't nosedive, they pulled up and they kept it above water. They coasted to a relatively safe landing versus what could have been an absolute full-blown catastrophe. They kind of saved it a little bit. But I'm thinking right now they're trying to come up with we can't always rely, because my question, if I'm internal at Halo right now, if I'm a developer at Halo and I'm making decisions, my first question is, who is our core now? And does that core even matter anymore? There are 2 generations now of kids that probably don't have the slightest fucking idea of what Halo even is, let alone have played the Halo that when you and I talk about it, from the standpoint of how it plays, the speed, the mechanics, etc., the feel of Halo, they probably have no idea. Some of them are actually happier with 343's Halo 5, like Call of Duty, clone, the sprinting and all the shit that was in that, like they're happier with that. I think that they're probably considering what is it that we need to do to find new players, because if I'm going to gamble at Halo right now, Halo Studios, I'm saying this. Our core, whatever's left of our core, they're buying whatever the fuck we put out. It's going to happen because there's only about 100,000 of them left that will buy whatever we put out. And if we cater hard to the whatever we think is the core, the 35 years old and younger audience, but mostly between the ages of 25 and 45, we might take that number from 100,000. Let's call it 1 million. Maybe 2. 2 million people is not enough to sell Halo games. We need more than 2 million people. If we're going to spend the amount of money that Halo requires, we need more than that. So what is it we're going to do? And for that reason, I think they may say, even though by the time it happens, and it may be too late, every kid is still, there's only a few of them that are dominating, but they're all still playing Battle Royale. Whether that's Fortnite, whether that's Call of Duty Warzone. The sentiment around Warzone, at least, Fortnite is kind of almost like the Nintendo of Battle Royales. They're kind of like on an island by themselves. Like nobody is going after Fortnite. It's really, in my opinion, Battle Royale right now is Call of Duty, and everything else doesn't matter. Apex is life support. PUBG is botted Chinese life support. There's really nothing. It's Call of Duty and that's it. And if you go and you see the circles for Call of Duty Warzone right now, most people are saying, I'm playing this because there's no other options, because they don't look at Apex and say they say it's not good enough, or like they're not feeling Fortnite. It's too different. I think that it could be too late, generally speaking, but they'll probably look at the marketplace right now and say, if we can get this out in X amount of time, we've got to take the fucking leap. on a battle royale. I don't think it's the only thing they do. I think they have to tack it on. And if you're going to do multiple projects and you're doing this thing with like Unreal Engine 5, one's a battle royale and one is the core arena shooter Halo style combat that's attached to a campaign. That would be my guess as to what's going on. If I was doing a Halo battle royale, you're not even putting Master Chief in it. It's ODST. It's the regular dudes that drop in pods, literally, already, by default. It's baked into the fucking lore. ODST come in. How would you do the circle? I think it's various battle zones in which the Covenant are pushing in from all sides. It's a moving war zone. You go outside that circle, you start getting hit by like Covenant ships and shit from the top instead of taking gas damage. That's what pushes you inward. And it's a losing fight like every time, but you're trying to come out on fucking top. That would be how I would attack Battle Royale in Halo. Vehicles are already there. Everything is already there. It's basically set up for it. I think that it's totally workable. It is shocking to me that they fucking ignored it. And I think that they're probably going to gamble on it the second time around. If they don't, I don't disagree with you that I think there's a good chance it's too late. But in general, I think we both agree it's almost too late for any version of Halo, and so you might as well at least try.
Yeah,
right? Because like, what do you got to lose? You're not like, are arena shooters in 5 years any more popular than battle royales?
No.
Probably not. So if you're going to spend $200 million,
that's the way to do it, I guess.
You might as well give it a shot. But there you go, Halo. Let us know in the comments what do you guys actually think about Halo moving to Unreal Engine 5, and what do you think about Halo Battle Royale? What do you think they're going to do to try and salvage the franchise? Next up, so we talked about this last podcast. There was the thing where California was going to go ahead with the law to, or it's still being passed, not finalized yet, but going ahead with the thing about labeling games as selling a license instead of actually, you buying the game. And Steam looks like they are jumping ahead and getting on that action already. Somebody sent me a link talking about this, and I was interested. I wanted to know if that was like California specific or if Steam was applying it globally. And so I went on myself on Steam and I threw something in the cart and I went to checkout, and sure as shit, I got the picture there if you want to see it, Mr. Black. It says on the right-hand side, right underneath continue payment or continue to payment, a purchase of a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam, and then it links to their full terms and conditions below. That's about all I expected to come out of this. Is to at least communicate that it's a license. You're still going to likely see a button that says buy now or purchase now, but you're purchasing a license, and so now they're implementing that. I'm surprised it happened as quick as it did on Steam, and that it's global. At least it is in Canada, and presumably then therefore the U.S. But they went ahead and started that. I do think that's probably as far as it will likely go. How do you feel about, I know we talked about it before, how do you feel about that just being there in general?
I mean, it doesn't seem as painful as what we discussed on the previous podcast. If I go to a game right now, let me see your Steam store, horror. And then I go to, let's go to Wukong here. Add to cart. Continue shopping, view my cart. Yeah. So, yeah, it pretty much says that, but there's no part where it's just, they've done it smart. So it doesn't like, it doesn't have like these
pop-up that punches you in the face or something.
Exactly, right? It's continue payment, and then underneath it just says a purchase of a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam. So, I mean, that's not nearly as bad as when you click on the button and it says like license, you know what I mean? Instead, or
yeah.
Something along a lease or something along those lines. But yeah, I think it's a decent middle ground. It doesn't really change much.
No, I don't think, but I think that's fine. I think I don't think the law was trying to be passed in an attempt to you know, dramatically punish the entire industry for something. I think it was just being put in place to be more clear about what a person is actually purchasing at the end of the day. And to some degree, I would have to imagine that companies might actually be kind of okay with this moving forward, because I would imagine that this gives them even before you hit like end user agreement, you're now getting a message about this being a license. And so from a legal perspective for them, people have even less ways of like class actioning in this regard. It's stated now, even outside the EULA, this is a license. This isn't, you don't technically own this in that regard. So they might be okay with this style.
I mean, we'll see.
Anyway.
Yeah, this style. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. That's literally all of the major news this week. So we got into the quick bits for news coming up now. So the first up, Alien Isolation fans have something to be excited about, as on the 10th anniversary. Yep. Of
Keep
the
going,
original.
I get something in my eye I need to take out.
Yeah. 10th anniversary of the original release. Creative Assembly announced a sequel is in development. That's actually that surprised me. I know Alien Isolation did well, critically and otherwise, but I wasn't sure whether or not we'd ever see a follow-up, but we are. Now, I have no idea. I don't think I read anywhere, at least when I first saw this piece of news, if they had any release attached to this. I think this was just a general announcement to say, hey, it's coming. The development is happening. And I think that's enough to get a lot of people quite excited, because it was very good. You know, Alien Isolation is kind of like, I consider it almost like, was a game, Prey, where really solid, really good game, but not that many people played it or even think about it when it comes to, you know, games in that genre. So yeah, good on them. We got more coming. Starfield, Shattered Space. Sometimes I catch myself how stupid my own notes are. Starfield, Shattered Space is shattered ass. Did you hear that softly in the background?
I heard it.
It's shattered ass. It hits mostly negative on Steam, peaking at 21,000 players on Steam, which was on launch day, specifically. And has people even more concerned about the future of other beloved Bethesda titles like Elder Scrolls 6. And then I have, as a comparison point, Skyrim averages about 17,000 flat at any given time, most days. So their 12-year-old beat to shit, repatched 1,000 times video game is outperforming more or less on many times throughout the day their brand new baby that they're trying so hard to convert into what they're referring to like as their big three. So they want Elder Scrolls. They're really hoping to do this and like make it a thing, right? Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Starfield. They want these like that to be like their core 3 games that they can rotate, because up to this point it's just been 2. It's been, you know, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, back and forth. Here's the problem, is that they already talked about or responded to the relatively not great reaction to Starfield and its DLC, and that's probably worse than the game itself. The reaction to it was basically, well, people don't like it as much because it's not what they're used to from us. It's not everyone's cup of tea. And then they said, then Emil, the writer, who should not be allowed to write for games anymore, said that Starfield's DLC is arguably the best DLC that they have ever made, and that it is one of the best DLCs ever released, period. which is just objectively false, verifiably on a number of metrics, not least of which is critical review, user review, sales, concurrent player count, all of which are fucking ass. It's a shit expansion. It's dog shit. He's now in a position in the company where he's basically Todd's right-hand man. He's got an enormous fucking ego. And he has not written anything worth putting to paper in a game in like 20 fucking years. But he's the principal writer. He is the guy. He is the reason why Bethesda, like, writing for quests and otherwise is so shit. And he's out here saying it's like the Starfield, best game we ever made. DLC, best DLC we ever produced. Just not everyone's cup of tea. It's one of the big three now. We're going to keep working on it. We're proud of what we've got. Delusional. Which means Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be dog water. I got no hope. That game's dead. Super fucking dead. I am modding a version of Skyrim right now that will probably end up being worth playing more than the Elder Scrolls 6, and it will be out 7 years before Elder Scrolls 6 is. So that's, that's a big enough reason to just ignore it on its own. But I'm sad because I've said this before. Hubris is the most expensive line item in game development. And Bethesda is currently just overspending on hubris like crazy. I try not to get upset, trying to get angry about it, because the Elder Scrolls is like a core game for me, like core franchise. And it's been so long since we've had one. Literally 13 years, and by the time this one comes out, probably 15 or 16 years by the time it comes out, which is just insane. It'd be like over almost half my lifetime. But in between these titles, and I've got to like put up with what's probably going to be like a milk toast fucking release because Emil over here just loves the smell of his own farts. It's the fucking worst thing in the world to watch from the sidelines. But yeah, that's all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I don't suppose you're going to buy the collector's edition for Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out, Mr. Black?
I don't suppose I'll buy the game at all.
Not going to buy a partner for that dragon back there?
No, I'm good. No?
Vice President of Rainbow Six, Cameron Lee, has officially left Ubisoft in what is probably not going to be the only such case as the company continues to keep its head barely above water. Ubisoft is so fucked right now, dude. I think they're going to have a whole bunch of people like this. Their leads are all going to start separating themselves from the company. They're already looking for basically a way out to buy the company back out. Because as we talked about last time, they've lost like half their value in a single year. That's impressive. You got to really try to lose half of your company's value in a single year. And that's when you're still producing games. Like if you're still putting games out and you're still tanking value, maybe it's worth changing some things and not just buying the company out and continuing to be stupid, which is what seems like they're going to try to do. As an aside, the founding, as I was just mentioning, the Guillemot family and Tencent Holdings are apparently considering buying the company out and going private. Which tells me they don't really want to change. They just want to keep doing what they're doing, but not be beholden to shareholders, which is fine, and they can do that. They're just going to make like way less money. Nobody's going to be playing that shit. People are starting to take like merchandise for the next Assassin's Creed. Seeing a couple of places just taking the merchandise off the shelves. Nobody wants like a hot potato. Nobody wants anything to do with Ubisoft and their games right now. And coincidentally, almost related to this to some degree, the Horizon curse continues. This is like a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, as the remaster is going to launch in the same window as wait, what? The Horizon curse is this directly? Oh, sorry, got ahead of myself. Red Dead Redemption. I skipped a line. Red Dead Redemption and the DLC Undead Nightmare are officially coming in full 4K in a remaster to PC for the first time October 29th. Big overhaul of that, and including the Undead Nightmare DLC. That's going to get a lot of people very excited. Going to sell a lot of copies, I'm sure. And of course, and this is where the Horizon curse comes from, it continues as this is directly in the same window as the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, which is coming to PC on the 31st, 2 days after. Every time they release a Horizon game, they manage to be within like 72 hours of a like just absolutely like same demographic blockbuster fucking game without fail. I feel bad for them, honestly. I'd probably change the date. Be like, all right, listen. Go play Red Dead. We'll see you in like a month and a half. But they're probably not going to do that. Apparently, there were rumors, the rumors were true, and Santa Monica Studios is going to be releasing God of War, the Greek Saga. Probably because the original, I think that is referring to the original God of War games, so like the PlayStation 2 era of God of War games. That's coming out sometime next year, and apparently development is reportedly basically done already. So they're just waiting for a window to release this thing. And a lot of people have been waiting a long time to see if they would ever do this, and the rumors were there, and they were true, and we're getting it, and it's coming out next year. And finally, for the quick news, League of Legends taking another step in the direction of moving all of our gaming needs into the mobile sphere for monetization strategy, as they're mimicking gacha at this point. Players discovered this week that 2 out of 3 people, or players, I suppose, who spend 32,000 Riot points still won't get an Exalted skin. The joke going around now is soon we'll have 50-50 rolls like gacha next. 50-50 rolls like in Genshin, whenever you roll for a 5-star character, there's a 50-50 chance that you actually get the 5-star banner character and not just some other random 5-star character. So you've already spent the time and money to get to the roll, usually anywhere from 80 to 100 rolls, and then it's still a 50-50 at the end of the day. They're not there yet, but 32,000 RP, Mr. Black, to have a 1 in 3 chance, by math anyway, is roughly $300 US. And you're still not getting rewarded with an Exalted skin. That's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna listen. There's a few of you playing League of Legends out there right now. For the love of fucking God, don't stop. Don't be one. Don't wail for them. Nobody should wail for $300 for a 33% chance at getting an Exalted skin. Come on. It's a real shame that there's like enough like mentally ill people in the world with money that are willing to just throw that amount of money at a game company that they can then basically ruin the experience for 99% of the rest of the player base. It kind of pisses me off, really. You think about it. The fact that they can look at a revenue distribution and say, we can literally ignore 98% of the entire base because it's a 2% whale turnover and still be more profitable than if we target the 98%. And you know it's just because there's like that 2% is mostly like either some wealthy dude in Asia that's just burning money, or it's somebody that stole their parents' credit card and they're maxing out every credit card in existence in the household, putting everyone into crippling debt. And that's how they float the game. Shit ain't right. It's really all I got, Mr. Black. I know you're a little low energy over there, but that's all we've got. So now you can sell out for us so we can move on to talk very briefly about movies and TV. What you got?
Yeah, patreon.com/legtv. Head on over there. Throw some money at the screen. If you want to support us directly, you can also do it via NordVPN. Guys, stay safe, stay anonymous on the internet. Watch different regions of Netflix and other streaming services at the click of a button. I use mine to do just that, along with having anonymity when I am not home, whether I am out, say at, well, I don't really go to Starbucks, but at the gym. I'm using Wi-Fi there. Pardon me. I'm using my NordVPN, especially if I'm traveling. So, yeah, whenever I'm in the States, I'm at airports, whatever. I'm using it all the time. And there is, the last time I checked, I'm going to double check just so I don't give you wrong information here. NordVPN.com/OTT. The Black Friday exclusive deal is still going on. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, you can head on over there. There's an extra little deal going on. Plus, you get 4 extra months when you use our link. Will be in the description of the stream. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, it'll be in the description of the video. And RSS feeds, NordVPN.com/OTT. Great way to support yourself, us, and the sponsor all at once. They've been in the game for over 11 years. Some of the best to do it. So go check them out. We've been using ours for years. They've been supporting us for years, and you guys have been supporting them as well for years. So go and check them out. Again, big deal happening right now at NordVPN. That's it. Oh, did I mention it's a 30-day money-back guarantee? Did I mention that? I don't think I did. So if you don't like it for whatever reason, get your money back within 30 days, guys. And I also, now, instead of 6 simultaneous devices, it's 10 simultaneous devices. So now, before when I used to say you could, use it for one small Filipino family, now you can do a medium-sized Filipino family. Just on one account. And it's less than half a cup of coffee a month. Now my sellout is over. Go check them out. Adam is like, not my Filipino family.
Nah. Nah, you're only gonna need 3 simultaneous connections in this household.
Yeah.
Tops. Now it's time for
movies and TV.
I got no energy either. I ain't even shitting on my ass. I just got no energy, bro. I'm having a day. I'm just like, I'm brain dead. I'm having trouble finishing sentences without friggin' forgetting where I started the sentence. I'm always struggle bussing. This is gonna be like the weakest fucking drive to work podcast of all time. Dragon Ball Z narrator and voice actor Doc Harris sadly passed away this, it was last week or so at this point, maybe 10 days. Sometime after having minor surgery, the month prior, he was 76 years of age. So
the guy's like previously on Dragon Ball Z.
For the English dub specifically, yes. That was the classic English dub for the intro guy. And I mean that wasn't the only thing he did. He had other roles as well, but that was the one he was likely most recognized for. I don't think we talked about it last time because I don't think it happened either, but I think also wasn't Dame Maggie Smith passed away as well? She was 90 something, and that was like after beating cancer a couple of times. I feel like, so I mean, holy shit. So she did well, and then what was it? Yesterday I heard apparently I can't remember which member it was from One Direction who passed. I guess he fell off like a fucking balcony or a roof or some shit. 31 years old.
Going on out there, man. It's crazy out there.
It's crazy.
Bad news after bad news. Can we get some good news? Dang.
Not until Interstellar comes out, and we're still waiting.
That's soon. That's like real soon.
How soon are we talking?
Like, let me see. I'll tell you how soon. Interstellar. Interstellar IMAX. I tried to go on the site, but it just ain't happening. December 6th? December 6th?
Shit, that's still a ways away.
Yeah, it's a little ways away. It'll be all right, though. Wait a second. Yeah, 2024 movie tickets. Yeah, December 6th. IMAX. 4K.
I'll be there.
– Yes.
Trying
Yes,
to think
please.
of what else I've been watching, and my brain is very slow right now, so like zero snap.
Love is Blind. I've been
StarCraft's
watching
gonna
Love
be
is Blind.
fucking hilarious after when we record this. StarCraft is gonna be a
Yeah.
meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Love is Blind.
with
I don't
you.
think we caught up all the way to waiting for the next episodes. I think we're like one shy, but we're pretty deep in. We'll probably watch or catch up tomorrow. I think did the next batch just come out like yesterday?
Yeah, a batch did yesterday.
Yeah, so we didn't catch all of the previous batch. I don't think. I think we still had like one left or something like that.
Oh well, then we can't talk. Then we can't talk about it yet. So next week
we can talk about it like in general, but just briefly. But how are we feeling
the
so
Gong
far?
Show.
It's Gong
That's
Show.
Gong Show. Oh, it's an absolute unadulterated dumpster fire.
So the last episode we watched, just so you know where my spoiler line is, the last episode we watched was the one where the electrician bro decided to let the world know that he's a bit of a sex addict and did some stupid shit. That's the episode we ended on.
Okay, so yeah, you haven't gotten into the meat. You haven't gotten into the juice yet.
No, we just hit that pop there, and I was angry because until
like that guy?
Until the episode before where he started like talking a little too much about it, and internally I'm going, bro, you got to dial it back.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's getting a little fucking weird because everything else about him on camera anyway, and you never know how they're editing it, but I mean, generally speaking, seemed like he was just a pretty good dude. And I think he probably is, but he's definitely got a fucking sex problem. Like a 100%. Like that's his dark corner. He's not like a raging alcoholic or anything crazy like that, and he's not blowing coke up his nose, but he's definitely doing some weird shit that he shouldn't be doing and got caught for it. My man really said went to a sleep clinic drunk. Like, come on, bro. Ain't nobody at a sleep clinic taking your ass in if you're actually drunk. Be serious. You just got caught.
You got caught, bro.
But I'm not a fan of her either. Like, I feel bad for her. That shouldn't have happened to her. Like, she doesn't deserve that, obviously. But I'm not a fan of her anyway. Like, she's.
I'm
there's
not
a
a fan
reason
of her either.
I said to Emma, so there's a reason she's single at 36.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of many of them. There's not many people on there I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
It gets bad. You're about to turn the page. You're actually about to turn the page.
Okay.
You might be one episode out.
Okay.
And I don't even want to semi spoil. You're just about to shit's about to hit the fan.
All right.
In a big way.
I know Em already like partially spoiled herself. Because friends at work were talking and she asked the question or whatever, and she got spoiled, and so I know she knows something's up, but I said, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you fucking don't you do. Because she's so bad. I'm sure maybe Kayla's like this when we're watching the show actively on the phone, on Instagram, reading the Instagram accounts of the people on the show. And so
Kayla's
like,
not that bad because I bicker about it, right? Because if Kayla's like, oh, I heard, I'm like, Kayla,
I don't say it.
Stop. I don't want to hear. She's like, oh, do you want to know this one? No, I don't want to know this thing.
Exactly.
All right? I wanna watch it and be fucking surprised. I don't want the shit spoiled. That's part of the fun of all of this.
Why else am I watching the show?
Why else am I watching this? Exactly. Why else am I watching this dumpster fire of reality TV? I want to do it because I want to go,
exactly.
No. Oh my God, no.
I don't know why the women are just so friggin' antsy to spoil themselves.
Because it's drama, bro. That's why, man. They love gossip. It's in woman's nature to enjoy the fucking the gossip. With some dudes are like that. Don't get it twisted. But not me, man. I like the drama. I love the drama. I just don't want to be spoiled on the drama.
No, I want to experience that in real time. I want to know ahead of time. But yeah, other than that, just random sidebar. I went upstairs and Em was doing some work on the laptop, and she always plays something in the background. And she was watching. I don't know which one it was, but it was recent. Keegan-Michael Key was in this one, Predator, whichever Predator he was in. It's relatively recent. but one of the worst. I saw the last 20 minutes of this movie without seeing anything else. That might be top 5 worst movies made in the last 20 years.
Great.
Really, truly, 100% dog water in every category. The special effects look like 1963. The fucking music made no sense. It sounded like if I closed my eyes, I thought I was watching Indiana fucking Jones.
Damn.
Like it was basically that style of music, but I'm watching a Predator movie. Like imagine that, but then Predator. You're like,
yeah.
That's exactly like the shield comes on, it cuts a dude's fucking like legs off, another dude bleeds out and throws himself into an engine, and then the next guy's gotta like slide down the shield to go fight the Predator, and that's the fucking music happening in the background to that scene. And my brain was like, what the fuck is the tone of this movie? I don't know, but it's bad. So thankfully I only had to see the last 20 minutes and not the whole thing. I would have turned it off if I was there for any longer. And beyond that, I don't think we've caught anything else because we were mostly just watching Love Is Blind when we had time last, when she wasn't on like her work schedule. So we'll catch more of that. I'm excited, more episodes. I'm excited to watch more episodes.
Oh,
get all the juice.
Oh, this is definitely
details.
And you know, I feel like I say this a lot, but
is this the spiciest one they've done?
It's I don't even say spice, it's messy, bro. It's the messiest one. And I mean,
which is saying because the last season, some of the last season was rough. This has been worse.
Oh, it was, but this is like this, bro. This is, and you know, you want to know who's on the do you remember on one of the Love Is Blind? You remember Kwame, the black dude, and he had it is Kwame, and then his girl. They ended up getting married.
Right.
But anyway, fuck, what's her name, dude?
I'm a bad names person. I'm just like especially with this kind of shit.
Love Is Blind.
Let me see.
It's Kwame.
Yeah.
His significant other. I don't even remember her name. But anyway, she's part of the casting on this. And she casts people, like she's like one of the talent scouts or whatever.
Oh, right. I remember hearing about that because in last season's, Chelsea. It's Chelsea. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. In the last season's, follow up, whatever they call that, where they all get back together and they're basically just chirping each other on live, fucking whatever the fuck. She was there and they talked about that for the first time, that she's now part of the crew for the shows.
She might actually get fired by the end by the end of the season. This is getting so like, dude, it gets so messy that you're gonna be like, what?
Well, I was already a little bit like head tilty when I think it's the first time it's ever happened. Where earlier, they did the first, seeing each other or whatever, and it was the friggin' art dealer
Leo
fruit cup, and that girl,
Yep.
And then the camera like cuts away, and it was like, yeah, so they fucked off to like Florida or some shit, and then decided not to do it. When I saw that, I went,
yeah,
this season something ain't right.
Oh, something ain't right. All right. Something ain't right. Next week, we'll have a good little chat.
Oh boy.
Dumpster fire.
Oh boy. My body is ready.
Oh yeah.
My body's ready. Have you seen anything else that you've been basically the only thing you've been watching is the walls of your bathroom for the last couple of weeks?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I watched the Ace Ventura When Nature Calls there the other night, or I at least fell asleep.
Let's go.
I fell asleep during like the last 20 minutes or so. I was like just tired as fuck, but yeah, we ended up watching that. It was a good laugh. I still surprisingly know 80% of the dialogue in that movie. So
yeah.
I did watch a little bit of that, and I think that's pretty much all we watched, dude. We didn't watch a whole lot of anything else. It's just been Love Is Blind.
I know, like, because you get on a binge of it, and that's like the that's the show.
Yeah.
You're just watching Love
Yeah.
is Blind. It's the way it goes.
Watched a documentary on Vince McMahon. So we watched that.
Yes. Oh yeah, we watched that as well.
That was pretty good. It was interesting.
What a wild time to do that documentary right in the middle of all that. Like, it happens. Like, imagine you've already filmed all that shit, and then all that stuff starts breaking, and you're looking at each other like, how in the fuck are we gonna navigate? How are we gonna navigate this? It's kind of crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, I guess it's time to move on to
tech support.
If you haven't fallen asleep to us falling asleep on microphone yet, patreon.com/LikeTV is the place to go if you want to financially support this podcast. For $5 or more each and every month, you get a couple of perks. Chiefly, you can ask us questions on a post that I put up before the podcast each week called Tech Support. You give us the questions, we give you the answers. At least we're going to try. Because right now, whew.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, my wit is gone. So StarCraft is gonna be fucking weird. I've got nothing. Like, I'm trying to like think of like be quippy as I got nothing. My brain is just an empty fucking void right now. I'm like looking around inside actively the corners of my mind, and there's just cobwebs. There ain't nothing there.
Yep.
It's dead.
And my pharmacist said, like, when you take these pills, like you might get like a little foggy and you might get a headache. And here I am sitting in some fog, and the headache is hitting. And it's just like, here we go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's see. The Jubinator asks, oh boy, just to get the spirits lifted. Biggest tips for a 27-year-old who wants to be better at his life, or to better his life, but is worn out from work and life. Biggest tips for a 27-year-old. Probably black penis.
That's the biggest tip?
That's the biggest tip.
Damn.
For 27, you're burnt out. You're burnt out on life and work.
Listen, it's going to sound crazy. But here's my tip. Get to the gym. Work out.
How you gonna say that after I say black penis?
I don't
gonna say, listen,
it's
here's
all
my
good.
tip.
Here's my tip. Go to the gym. I know it seems counterproductive because you're already burnt out and tired, but believe it or not, as you start working out, you're going to get more energy and you're going to start feeling better about yourself, and it's going to make things a little bit easier. So there's that. And you know, that's, I don't know what else to give you, to be honest, because bro, the world out there it ain't easy, bro. It ain't easy. You know, as a 27-year-old, just fucking try and be active, get a good night's sleep, fucking, I don't know. It's a horrible advice. I got none. Although I think the physical activity is a good one.
That's good. That's a good one to lean on. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone, you can tell everyone that, and it's still going to be good advice. I mean, for sure. Man. I mean, like, I'm the last person you should ask. I'm 36. I don't exercise. I don't read. I'm fucked. I'm literally just fucked. I'm the last person you should be asking this, but let me tell you. So here's the way to do it. Everything I'm doing, opposite, would be a great place to start. So read, gym, eat healthy. I actually eat okay. That's but the only thing I'm doing properly these days. Man, I mean, what else can you do at 27? I mean, in general. Wow.
Don't be too hard on yourself, man.
I think
27.
I think, yeah, but like at 27, you start feeling like 27 ain't young anymore. You know what I mean? Like at 20, if I think back to 27,
but it is young. You know? A lot of, you know, I think like when you're at like 32, 33, that's when, you know, I mean, even when you hit 30, I think psychologically something happens. I mean, at 27, most 27-year-olds do not have it figured out. Believe it or not. And like a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, I'm 23. It's like, okay, well, you're 23. You ain't got to figure it out yet. And then like, well, I'm 27. I ain't got to figure it out. Well, you're 27. You ain't got to figure it out yet. I know there's a little bit more pressure, and it also depends on your relationship status and sort of what it is that you envision for yourself. You know, do you have a significant other in your life? Do you have a partner? You know, what is the horizon in which you want to, you know, potentially start a family? Is that even feasible? You know, have you started your career yet? Have you, like, you know, do you even want a career? You know, like, there are so, like, you're still young, so obviously you got to put some thought into it, but at the same time, like, don't beat yourself up like too hard about it. It's good to light a little fire in your ass. You are 27, but like, you're not 40. You're not 35 with like feeling lost. And even at 35, you know, you're still young, but like every year sort of the opportunities kind of get smaller over time. At 27, you're still young.
Yeah, one of the things that I suspect Jew might be feeling here, and people younger than him as well, is just, if you spend any amount of time online right now, it probably feels like you're not doing enough with your life. Because everywhere you turn, everything that you hear is constantly about, you know, some form of grind set where you've got like 76 side hustles and you're waking up at 4 a.m. to sun your taint just before goat yoga and you know, snorting vitamin K to fucking get yourself, you know, keep yourself going. And then, you know, have like an hour and a half of mindfulness before running 17 miles so that you can, you know, eat your egg white omelet in the morning and max your macro game out. Life right now, if you're on the internet, feels like there's never going to be a point where you look at what you're currently doing and then look at all that and go and feel like you're meeting any kind of expectation, even if it's your own expectations that are completely built around what you're seeing online. Not even from the standpoint of other people, you know, placing expectations on you, but like your own expectations based on what you're seeing online. So I would say if I was 27 right now and I wasn't doing the job that we were doing when I was 27, which forced me to be online all the fucking time, basically. If I was 27 right now, I would pretty much nuke social media from orbit off of my phone. I wouldn't have it on my phone. I'd have apps to communicate with my friends and family. That's like the fucking line. Social media right now is, even if you know social media currently is more weaponized to fuck your shit up and monetize your ass than it ever has been before, it still doesn't shield you. The knowledge does not shield you from it still fucking your shit up. And if there is anything that I can think of that would be a bigger waste of time than almost anything, it's social media. There's nothing there for you. The only thing that you do on social media is put money in somebody else's pocket who's trying to farm social media. That's literally it. And I'm not talking about the owners of the platforms per se, but even other people who are just on the platforms min-maxing the algorithm to try and get you to click on it to get some money. I think that that's a good place to start. And when I say social media, I don't necessarily mean like Twitch or YouTube. Like if you're watching like video content and stuff like that, that's fine. But like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, this kind of shit, fuck all that shit. If I was 27, none of it would be on my phone. And I would try to like, I mean, this is shit that I'm doing now personally, which is why I'm saying it. As, you know, as what Jeff and I do is min-max to like 1 day a week. I'm streaming, but I'm modding Skyrim. If you're asking me, Adam, why in the fuck it's a month you must, it's because I goddamn want to. That's why. No other reason. I'm clearly not doing it to make money. or to entertain people. But if people want to come chill and hang and talk, then I'm down for that. But I'm doing it because I fucking want to. Because I'm at the point in my life now where this online shit, I've already seen it for what it is for a long time because Jeff and I have been living in it since 2011. But now I have the choice to not be in it if I don't want to, more than I did before. So if I was 27, I'd be making the same choice. Get the fuck off of Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all this other extracurricular shit. Ignore it, and then take Jeff's side. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you're trying to set a goal? Couple of them. Short term, long term, doesn't have to be career oriented, whatever the fuck else. You remove social media, you'll be surprised at how much time you have to actually be in your own head. And I'm going to be honest with you. That's a scary fucking place for most people. This thing, I thought about this the other day as I was sitting on my phone in the car in the morning after dropping him off to work. And I didn't realize I had been on the phone for like 45 minutes in my driveway. Hadn't left the car. I stopped and I said, I just thought for a second, I said, you know, Adam in 2007 on a fucking Razor flip phone didn't have that option. Adam in 2007 didn't sit in the driveway for 45 seconds and piss nearly an hour of the entire day away. There's nothing wrong with entertaining yourself. The problem is that all of this shit is designed to like chew your time up without even realize, you don't even realize the fucking time is disappearing. And you can break it up in micro spurts throughout the day. And by the end of the day, like, don't ever be the person to look at how long you've been on your phone, your screen time. Because just like microtransactions with games, micro interactions with your phone, you don't recognize it's happening. It's just like leaving your time instead of money leaving your bank account. It's time leaving your day. You don't even recognize it's happening until your phone says at the end of the week, congratulations. I don't know if iPhones do this. Congratulations, your screen time this week was 1 hour less than the week before. And you're like, oh, I wonder what my actual screen, Jesus! So if you're 27 and you're asking that kind of an existential question, which many people at 27 do, and at 35 and 36 as of a few days ago, then if you're having a hard time finding a North Star, then you're too distracted. So the easiest things to do are remove some distractions. And there are many distractions that are worth having and many that are not. So I would do that. I would get rid of that shit entirely. And then think about what you want to do, and then set a goal for how you plan on doing it, and then start. Because at any point in time in the last, let's say, 10 years for me, the times in my life where I actually felt best were times where I picked something to do and then did the thing. The picking of the thing is the worst part. Doing the thing is always less fucking grating than spinning your wheels and looking at things forever in a fucking day. So if you sit down, no distractions, and just pick your shit and then set a goal and go do it, your feelings about your life not, necessarily going, they will start to dissipate because you'll be going in a direction. Right now, it's probably because you don't feel like you're going in a direction.
Yeah, and not only that, dude, man, like the feelings that you're feeling is pretty normal. Like I get
very
that
normal.
way.
Yeah.
Like I get that way, dude. And I've got a family and all kinds of responsibilities on my plate, and my days are pretty fucking busy. Or as busy as I make them, which are usually pretty busy. Because my thing is just like what Adam said. I don't like to be in my own head too long either, because it's not a fun place to be. So I distract myself with work and tasks and things to do so that I don't think about those things. But brother, you're what you're feeling, you're not an anomaly. I think probably most people listening to this feel this way or have seasons of feeling this way on a yearly basis. Right? Like, it doesn't matter, bro. Some of the most successful people in the world, and whether you're talking financially or just fulfillment, they feel that they get this way. It's natural. So, don't beat yourself up too much. Get a little bit of exercise in, exercising, man, that's a great place, great time to be in your head while you're getting better, feeling better, looking better. And I'm kind of with Adam, you know. Even if you don't get off social media completely, just say, hey, maybe, you know what, weekends, it's a no social media zone. You know what I mean? See how that feels. Try it out. But wish you all the best, and keep your head up, man. Just keep trucking.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be fine. I think it's good to ask this of yourself once in a while, too, because there are so many distractions in life right now that it can sometimes be easy to not check in with yourself and ask the question, where am I going? How am I getting there? You could blink and like 6 months disappear. You're like, how the fuck? Where am I? What the fuck just happened in the last 6 months? And so asking the question, you know, that kind of question is good, and doing it on occasion is definitely a positive thing, because the worst that can happen is you find out that maybe you've deviated a bit from where you want to be, and then you make the course correction. The best thing that can happen is you ask yourself the question, you think it's going to be tough, but then you realize, no, everything is going exactly the way it needs to be going, and then you go right back to it. Yeah, you'll be, like Jeff said, you'll be fine. Everyone has those thoughts. Edgar asks, church update?
Oh, I haven't been to church in forever. It's been a while.
Let's see here.
Actually, I mean, it's kind of a lie. I was there, what, 3 weeks, a month ago, but I didn't actually go to service. I was just there to help Dad with streaming stuff, like setting up some stuff. That's it.
Here we go. This is an interesting one. Zonix, all Canadians like to rant about how bad the country is right now. I'm from Calgary and hear it all the time. What are 3 things you love about living in Canada? So instead of ranting about the bad, what are 3 things that you love about living in Canada?
Well, a lot of those things I loved about living in Canada are now gone thanks to Justin Trudeau. So I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure there are 3 things I absolutely love about Canada anymore.
What are the things that Justin Trudeau stole from you about Canada that you would have listed on this list?
Going out and eating a fucking Subway sandwich that doesn't cost $20. Well, there's something else that I want to say, but I won't say it because I don't want to hurt anybody's soft feelings. I mean, dude, the list goes on and on. I mean, dude, I could literally rant, but you know what? I'm not gonna do that because I did that yesterday. So I'm not gonna do that.
Oh, you did that yesterday, did you?
Oh, did I ever?
On the back of Justin doing the inquiry about the India interference?
No, not even that shit. It's somebody in my chat I had made this comment about I had gotten a text from a tenant and it was on some dumb shit, right? Like sometimes tenants, and this isn't this specific example, but I'm going to give you a general example. Sometimes tenant will text me and be like, yo, some light bulbs that are broken. Do you think you can come and replace them? And I'm thinking to myself, what? It's like, replace the fucking light bulbs. That's what I feel like saying. Like, you know what I mean? So I just tell my tenants, like, dude, I'm not going to drive over to your place with a couple of light bulbs and screw those in and take 45 minutes, an hour out of my day, maybe longer, depending on the time of day it is, to change out light bulbs. If you want, pick up some light bulbs. The next time you're at the grocery store or wherever, you don't even have to cheap out. Just wherever you're at, there's light bulbs, grab them. Keep the receipt, and I'll deduct it from your rent. I'm not going to do that shit. So I ended up getting a text messages from a tenant on just some dumb shit. And the vast majority of the time, not all the time, but the vast majority of the time, it usually is tenant neglect. So like, oh, this thing isn't working. Okay, well, maybe it's because you didn't clean this appliance for fucking a year. Like, look at the amount of grease here. Look at the amount of lint in your dryer. Like, how hard is it to pull out your fucking your filter and just wipe it down or wash it out? And I also, in the majority of my places, when it comes to the range hood, I leave extra filters like above the cupboard, like above that, so they can just, I tell them when they move in, like, hey, you should be cleaning this, because I don't know how often, like, some people never use their ovens, like, and then some people use them 24/7, like they're boiling shit, whatever, right? So anyway, I ended up, I made some comment because I was on text message. I say something along the lines of, it's usually one of the extremes, right? It's usually something stupid or something really bad, and it's something really bad because they neglected to tell me about something that was pretty serious that just kept going on forever. It's like, oh, there was a leak, was there? Why didn't you tell me this like 2 months ago? And I could have had a plumber out or do this or whatever. Which, by the way, I know I'm doing a little bit of bitching right now, and I typically don't have too many problems, but I'm just giving you an example. So anyway, this guy is like, in my chat, something along the lines of, I don't feel bad, or small violin or whatever, paying $2,000 or $2,100 for a 1-bedroom or whatever, and sad violin or some shit like that. And I'm like, brother, because dude, being a landlord, we get vilified a lot. And you know what? Sometimes there are some really shitty landlords out there. Like, there's some slumlords out there that are just pieces of shit.
No, yeah, they're
right?
fucking brutal. Yeah.
They're just awful human beings. And but then, like, I take pride in what I do, and I don't even maximize my business for maximum profit, even though I should. It's a fucking business and it should be ran as such. But I actually have empathy, and I'm also in a place where, making somebody pay an extra $100 a month isn't necessarily changing my life.
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, it might be negatively affecting theirs. But then now I'm also in a position where the inflation has gotten so bad and everything has gone up so exponentially. And we're not talking like a 3 to 5% year over year. We're talking like 10 to 20% in a lot of different categories, whether that is insurance. Don't even get us. I mean, the pain with the mortgages and the mortgage rates, right? And so if I'm not raising my rents every year, right, whether that is 5%, we have a 5% cap, or 2% or whatever. I didn't raise anybody's rents throughout COVID. Even a year after COVID, I didn't do anything because I felt for people. And I was doing extremely well during COVID because of my line of work. So, I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, I make a little bit less money. That's okay. But me doing that now is negatively affecting the operations of what I do, simply because if I had done those incremental jumps, now since I'm doing the jumps, when I raise rent, say 5%, it's 5% on a very low rate. And I have such
capped you, yeah.
And I'm capped. And I have such, like, compassion for people. And listen, I could get out of all of those leases. I could just say, hey, I'm not renewing our term lease. You have to be out at the end of here's your 4 months notice or 3 months notice. I won't be doing that. But these people, they have families, they work in those areas. They've been great tenants, the majority of them for the most part. Who am I to put them in a thing? So obviously I take offense to people that vilify all landlords, but I also at the same time understand their frustration and the propaganda machine that is the liberals. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't give a fuck. Where they want to pass the buck and they want to say, oh no, it's your landlord's fault. But the problem is if we are running rentals, right? The problem is if we don't do these things, you will go bankrupt. And the mom and pop people, the majority of them, there are bad apples. The mom and pop people that have 1 rental, 2 rentals, or whatever, they're doing that as their retirement. They're not these big kill 'em conglomerates where they have 30, 40, 50,000 units, and they have a portfolio of $300-400 million or $1 billion, right? Those are two totally different things. And, you know, they're like, oh, well, you know, to keep building condos. And this, of course, this guy's from Toronto, right? So obviously, you know, everything is just fucking, you know, it's just obscene, right? And I'm like, dude, listen, the government, it makes it extremely hard for developers to develop affordable housing, right? And you cannot build any more land. You can't just build land. There's only so much land. The problem is the majority of the land that can be developed on are oftentimes there's red tape all over it, and they refuse to give out the proper permits, to give out the proper zonage, and all these other things to be able to go out there and do this. And when Justin Trudeau and his dipshit liberal fucks decided to go out there and bring in 1 million people from India every year and other places, and they bring in, we're only building 300,000 units in the entire country, and they only did that to stop a recession because they needed to prop up the GDP, because if they didn't do it, all of the decision making that they had done throughout COVID and everything else would have absolutely destroyed the country, like financially. And Canada makes the vast majority of their money through the real estate market. Without real estate, Canada is broke. It's absolutely fucking broke. But then again, I say these things out loud, and then they say, oh, you're racist, or you're discriminating. No, you dumb fucks. The problem is we have a horrible healthcare system. We have a horrible a real estate system in terms of supply and demand, and even worse so, we have a horrible government that won't do anything about it because they're too busy trying to fucking keep their positions. And then what they do is they pander and they create this propaganda bullshit, and they point fingers at landlords and other private clinics and all this other shit, whatever they can do. So that they're not the ones in that look bad. And trust me, there are bad people and bad civilians and stuff like that. And we've talked about this before. I have no problem with immigrants. Canada is built on immigration. We are a melting pot. We love the diversity in the country. But the problem is if we don't have the infrastructure, not only that, and once again, here we go. I'm not even saying anything nice about Canada right now, but here we go. I don't care because it's ridiculous. And the thing is, bro, even the people that supported Justin Trudeau and those dipshits that are there are over him. They're over seeing his face. They're over hearing his voice. And when you walk around and you go to your favorite establishment or you're walking down the street or whatever, it doesn't feel like Canada anymore. Everything is overly expensive. It just doesn't feel familiar. And it's got to the point now where people are finally waking up. It's gotten so bad that even the most diehard people that supported that party are going, guys, we need to change. This is actually insane. This is actually insane. Dude, I could rant about this forever and a day. Forever and a day. 10 years ago, if you told me, would you ever live in the States? I'd say, fuck no. You ask me today, I'd say, it depends. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. No offense to Americans. I love America. Like, I love going there. I don't love America, but I'm not American. But like, I love going there and the vibe and the everything. But dude, Canada does not feel like Canada. It just hasn't. And the problem is people are brainwashed, and don't get it twisted. The other side, the conservatives, and all that stuff, they got their whole slew of bullshit as well. Government is government is government. They're gonna tell you what they think you want to hear. They oftentimes do not follow through with what they can, or there's some fucking bullshit or anything like that. But it is very clear that here in Canada, the immigration issue that we currently have and the housing issue that we currently have is so bad that it's basically almost unlivable. You got carbon tax and all this other fucking shit, and they have the nerve to go out there and say, oh, well, now we're at 1.6% inflation. Look how great your government is. You dumb, stupid, bitch-ass motherfuckers. You're the ones who put us here. You're what, you gonna fuck us raw? And then when you up interest rates by like 5 basis points over the span of like 9 months to a year, And then you add you bring in 1 million new people from out, and then you treat them better. You give them places to stay. You give them great health care. You ignore Canadians. Then you give these greedy billion-dollar corporations handouts for hiring them, so they can pay them less than minimum wage. So you can create some sort of weird slave sweat labor, so that you can fuck Canadians out of jobs, dude. I don't know what this fixation is on these North American governments going out and just giving money to anybody and everybody outside of the people that literally live in their damn countries. Dude, I pay taxes like everybody else. Dude, our roads are shit. Our healthcare is worse. The price of food has gone fucking bananas. I own real estate. I benefit from real estate going up in value. But what I don't benefit from are all of my tenants struggling to fucking pay rent. And I unfortunately have to continue to do these things to stay afloat, or I'm fucked. It's really that simple. It's a never-ending gong show. So it's hard for me to figure out things that I love about Canada. I love the feel of the air of Canada, the views of Canada, the people of Canada. You know, it's a very friendly-ish place, but even that's changing. I mean, dude, people are angry all the time now. All the time. They're mad. They're frustrated, dude. And so I can't even get overly mad at somebody in my chat that is clearly frustrated. It's just I feel like their frustration is being pointed at the wrong party, simply because that's what they're designed, that's what they're programmed to think. And in reality, it's not the people that are your neighbors that are the problem, dude. It's the decisions that those dipshits are making, and they're so out of touch. And I'm the type of guy that I'm a capitalist guy. I'm a guy that's like, hey, free market, you do what it is you need to do to provide for your family. You get out there, you work hard, you do that. But even I have levels and limits where it's like, dude, we're getting to the point now where there's basically no middle class. It's like poor and rich. That's the show. And if you got to go to the grocery store, you put 4 things in a bag and it's $100, it's insane. 10 years ago, you used to go to Subway, you get a foot-long sub, a fucking soft drink, and 2 M&M cookies. It costs you $10. Now you go there, it's damn $18 for a meal. And then what they do is they take a little scoop and they scoop it and they put this thing, and then they take little pieces of chicken off as they weigh it, and then they put it on there, and it's this little tiny fucking... It's like, what are we doing here, bro? It's a gong show. It's a gong show. So I'm not particularly impressed with Canada at the moment. I obviously have a huge disdain for Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government. And if you support them, that's fine, dude. I don't judge people for that. You got to vote and do what's best for you and your family. Everybody's raised differently. I don't get in arguments with people that I don't think any less than of people. But all I got to say is wake up. Look what's happening. This hasn't happened over a year. This has been like a trail, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. The good news is it's gotten so bad that you actually just he can't even weasel his way out of it anymore. It's just like people are just fed up. Please. I digress. I still love Canada.
God, there's so much you talked about that I have opinions on too, I mean, what do I love about Canada? At least still now, even though I agree, Canada has not felt like Canada in a hot minute. I don't even know how to describe why it doesn't feel like Canada anymore. I'm not even sure I could put it to words. Some of it is as dumb and fucking internet meme as it sounds. It's like the vibe check. Canada hasn't passed the vibe check for Canada in a hot minute. Doesn't feel Canadian. It is weird. But that being said, there's still enough of Canada left in that right now that's still one of the things that I appreciate most about Canada. If people come here from other places around the world, it's different for us because we live in it. But for those other people that aren't living through it, they come here. There's still enough Canada in here that it's notable. So it's still there from an outside perspective. It's just less for people who are inside and living it all the time. So that's definitely one of them. Crime has gone up significantly.
Yep.
But I still feel safe.
Yep.
Because the baseline for Canada was so incredibly fucking safe in most places that, like, I can hear the sirens ironically right now on my microphone. Fucking perfect timing. Perfect timing. Although I think that might have been a fire truck, so that's fair. So yeah, so that's still for me a positive. And just at least again for the time being, for the majority of people that live here, the culture of Canada, like if you're gonna average out everyone's thoughts and opinions and personalities and whatnot, what is there that makes up the culture of Canada is still I think a net positive for me. And then of course, you know, we've got great outdoor living here and stuff that you can't just get absolutely everywhere. But you know, a lot of what you talked about there has been a lot of what, you know, even Em and I have talked about here recently and many times, and you know, Em herself is an immigrant, and
we love Em.
Yeah, of course. But clearly I married her. But the you know, her frustration, to speak not to speak entirely for her, but I don't think she'd correct me on this. Her frustration is that there feels like there are two ways to get into this country as an immigrant right now. And one of them is significantly more bullshit than the other. For her, she had to wait, apply, bring valid, necessary skill set to the country, still do 2 more years of bridging school, spend another $20,000 to get that done, despite having already been a nurse in the Philippines. Get sponsored here by a business to be able to even be here long enough to do all of this.
Yep.
And then eventually apply for permanent residency, and then just recently became a Canadian citizen. Not very many Canadians that are naturally born Canadians look at that process and have any problem with it, regardless of where the person comes from on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
What is dramatically increasing tensions right now is the other form of immigration into the country, which is the Canadian government going to other governments in a very short list of countries currently. India would be the number one for sure right now, and saying, you know, this is just kind of a meme, but it's not far from reality. So, hey, I don't suppose you got like 500,000-600,000 people you're just willing to give up? We could use some people over here.
Yep.
We'll take them for nothing. No, barely any background check. You literally can't background check adequately that many people in the amount of time that they are bringing them in. It's impossible. You can't get a person on the phone as a Canadian to talk about taxes, let alone imagine or try to convince the average Canadian that there are government employees that are legitimately background checking and vetting millions of immigrants coming in from other countries that are not going through the same system M did. When M comes in, she's got to basically give her entire fucking lineage of everyone that's lived in the last 50 years, every property they've owned in the Philippines, every business they've run or been part of, every relative that they have, wife, husband, cousin, brother, sister, who's alive, who's dead, where are they living right now, what are they doing, what are they part of the government, are they part of the military, every minute fucking detail imaginable. And then there are people that just come in and it's like wholesale and drop them off. And then the government abuses the system, like you mentioned, where they abuse the system in place in which they can subsidize hourly rates on minimum wage jobs for the 500,000 people they just brought into the country in a tiny window of time.
Yep.
And they have to do that to some degree because if you bring them in, they at least have to have some money. And what else do they need? They at least have to have somewhere to live. And the irony is that many of the people that they're bringing in, that's being taken care of. But the other people coming here for legitimate student visas, not the ones who are abusing student visas to get into the fucking country, which is another problem we have, or other people coming in like M, there's nowhere to live. The jobs are hard to come by, and many of them are being taken out by these other places. And when the government subsidizes a job, where does that money come from? Well, it comes from the tax base.
I wonder.
So the people who are actually actively living in Canada are actively funding taking jobs away from their own families that would be available. Their tax money is going towards funding these immigrants that are coming in through that system and not the traditional immigration system. That's what you're going to get people kicked back, like get kickback from people on. And it's not because people are necessarily racist, but you know what I will say? The fastest route to making a whole bunch of people that weren't racist feel a little bit racist is to do shit like this. Because when you bring in predominantly, let's say in this instance, Indian people into the country, and entire zones of cities become Little India in the span of 2 months to 6 months, or a year on a long tail.
Yep.
And somebody blinks and that happens, and they're working everywhere, and the fastest way to make somebody have racist thoughts is to do that. Because it happens quick. There's no reason for them to necessarily fold into the general cultural fabric of Canada because they move into what is essentially an Indian community at that point. It slows the rate. You mentioned melting pot. Canada's technically considered what do they call it? Fucking cultural mosaic. Because they're allowed to keep their culture when they come here. Melting pot is the U.S. where they are expected to fold into the U.S.
into the Canadian culture, or the U.S. culture. But
Canada's like, you're allowed to like keep whatever it is when you come here. Yes. But you're still technically Canadian.
You know what I meant? Yes.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But in the context of what I'm saying here is when you bring a lot of people in like that, and you stick a lot of them in one place at one time, and they're all still with one another, they have very little reason to actually adapt the mosaic of Canada. They just and you end up, what happens with that is you end up with cultural wedging in pockets around cities. You end up with cultural wedging. Great example of that right now is in the high schools around here. There's enormous cultural wedges between the foreign immigrant students and the Canadian students. Because there are parts of the cultures, Canadian culture versus cultures from immigrant nations, some certain immigrant nations specifically, that are as close to water and oil as you can get, and it's very difficult to reconcile. But because they're coming here in great numbers, there's very little reason to feel like they have to change, because now they look around and they go, well, we're all here. The biggest one, for example, that I know of is specifically they're having problems with female teachers, where culturally some of the places in which these immigrant families are coming in from, women are not considered equal to men, even a little bit. And so there is an issue with authority where female teachers have zero authority amongst some of these students. They will not listen to the female teachers, and they will speak to them incredibly disrespectfully. And they extend that obviously to also female students, fellow female students and whatnot as well. And there's been a number of scuffles over that, because right now, over the last 10 years or so, 15, perhaps, well, more like 15 now, more and more of the student or the teacher's abilities to take disciplinary action on students has been stripped away. They're not allowed to do anything anymore. They can't say anything. They can't do anything. If they do, there's legal ramifications. HR is involved. They lose their ability to teach. It's a fucking mess. All these teachers are walking on eggshells and have been for a long time. So now you're in a situation where the students are the inmates are running the jail, and it's getting very difficult to figure out how to handle that, and there's not much that you can do, but what it's resulting in is like fights fucking all the time. I just watched one the other day. You'll know what I'm talking about. Our high school and pizza shops. I was up at the Timmy's on Dumbrack. I saw the cop cars rolling through. 3 of them. First was one with lights on. I thought I was just pulling somebody over. There's 2 more. I was like, that's fucking weird. Finish my food. I drive out. They're there at the pizza shops, out in the parking lots, out front. There's like 40 students, all standing around, with 3 cop cars. Lights are still on. Big ass fucking altercation happening out of the joints. And when you look at the numbers that were there, there's like 40 of them. Almost all of them were immigrant students. Almost every single one of the 40 that were there. I have teachers in the family, and so I know what the general outlook of things is like in the schools right now. And in some areas, like this one out here, it's mostly immigrant kids now, and they're having a lot of trouble trying to fold them in to the structure of our schools. And that extends up. The parents are in the same thing. You can't, if they're coming here in those numbers, they have very little reason to change. They're coming from cultures that do have aspects of them that are so dramatically different from ours that, like, on a principle, they clash. And it's very difficult to reconcile some cultural differences. But when they're here in those numbers, then it can flip an entire region, an entire area.
Yep. Well, then people get frustrated too, right? And you go, what is this? All the things that we are used to, it changes. And the thing is, man, is a lot of these people, the majority of these people, the immigrants that are coming in waves, they just want to better themselves. They want to live the Canadian dream. They're good, hardworking people. They show up. They work hard. They do their job. They do everything that you're supposed to be doing. The problem is we do not have the infrastructure to support them at that number. It's just that simple. These are not inherently bad people. Of course, you're going to get bad apples. I mean, that's just human nature. It's just the way it is, especially with what you said, where you're expediting the process to the point where you're just stamping approve on virtual. As the computer can't even work as fast as they're coming in, right? Like it's just going to happen. Yep. But the majority, dude, the majority of the immigrants that I've had conversations with, I rent to immigrants, great, hardworking people, just like you and I, and tons of people that are listening to this podcast. The problem is we cannot support the sheer amount of it. We just cannot, and it's hurting our country. It's hurting our country. Something that should be positive. You know, just like how M did, you know, we should be bringing immigrants to fill jobs that Canadians are not filling, the gaps in which we need, where we have a place for them, we have a need for them, we have like an economic need for them, you know, an infrastructure need for them. And the problem is when you're just bringing them in waves, it creates a massive issue. And Canadians, and also in the United States, they also have a massive immigration issue. It oftentimes creates more crime, more homelessness, more frustrations, more divide, more inflation, more all of these things. And, well, I mean, we're seeing it now. This isn't even theory. This is just fact. It's just happening. So, I know we long-winded answered that question. I still love Canada. But I have no idea how we get back to it feeling like Canada. I don't know. But when the government changes out, we'll see what the next government does. I mean, we're getting some promises. They're going to have the majority of the seats, so they'll be able to pass things and get things done. The question is will they do it? Who knows, right? Because government just has a tendency to pass the buck, but I'm willing to take the gamble. I'm willing to take the risk. We need the change because this just ain't working for me anyway. And the majority of Canadians, the polls are just to tell you everything you need to know. So everybody out there, go vote.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to live the Canadian dream, but what is that anymore? I mean, the Canadian dream was never a thing. You know, in the sense that the American dream was a thing. You know, Canada never had that, like, conceptually. Canada was
I think it's different. Go for it. But you could. It's not that it doesn't exist. I mean, you could ascribe the phrase the insert country name dream globally, and every country has some version of the dream for that specific country. The American dream is like a hyper specific cultural fucking pillar in the States. Mm-hmm. We don't use the Canadian dream as a cultural pillar. We just use the fact that the country has been this we're Canadian,
safe,
just different,
kind, welcoming place where you can raise a family. That's just an accepted baseline. It's not something that we point to as a North Star of the country and be like, the dream. It's just like, it's an expectation, right? It's not the same in the States where the dream is, I'm going to become a multi-millionaire and I'm going to take over fucking Wall Street. I'm going to bang out enough cocaine to fucking keep me awake, to be staying on the lines and do finance until my eyes bleed. Like, that's not, we know that's not what it's like here. But the Canadian dream now, whatever the Canadian dream could have been or was traditionally, is significantly hamstrung by a number of the factors that we just talked about. The ability to own your own home, and it doesn't even have to be a fully detached house. I mean, we're talking about own a condo, own a like an apartment-sized condo, own a semi-detached, whatever the fuck, own something. Own a piece of property.
For Christ's sake. I mean, dude, trailers are like $250,000 right now.
Crazy
it's insane.
Money. So, like, to own something and to be able to go and get good, healthy food for a reasonable price, and have a good education. Our education has gotten worse.
I mean, healthcare. Like, these are just basic things, dude. Good schooling, healthcare. You're sick, you go to the hospital. I mean, now you have to wait fucking half a day to sit down there.
Here's a great example.
It's horrible.
Here's a great example. I had a call the other day from my doctor's office to let me know they had received the confirmation that I had an MRI for my SI joint scheduled for November. I said, "Excuse me? What do you mean I have an MRI scheduled for my SI joint in November?" And they said, "Yeah. It's come up." I said, "I don't remember scheduling an MRI for my SI joint. I had a CAT scan on my SI joint. That's how I found out I have a fusion in my low back, which was a great thing to find out. Like, that was ages ago. Like, She's yeah. The doctor put in for it in 2021.
It's just unacceptable, bro. It's just that's just unacceptable.
And I said, oh, okay. My assumption is she put in both at the same time, and the CAT scan came up long before. But you know, that is to some degree, this is what I think at a macro level the government is currently, and this is not just in Canada, there's a few countries in the world that are like this, but Canada is being at least for we can see from the inside, seems like doing one of the worst jobs of all of them at managing it. The birth rates are down, and Canada has a lot of people spread over a lot of land, and so a low birth rate is worse here than it is in other countries in the world where the population centers are more condensed. That is a bigger problem here than it is for other places. So immigration has always been used, as you mentioned before, has always been used as a way to prop up a relatively low birth rate and to make sure that our infrastructure can continue to be maintained in whatever fucking degree we can manage to maintain it through immigration as well. And but now they're, like you mentioned, they're to some degree, a lot of this immigration effort that they've put in has been in a way to, on paper, be able to point to GDP and say it's not so bad. And if you took away what they're doing and all of the loopholes that they are abusing in order to get to this point, just to point at GDP, not look at the micro level of how that GDP number is being calculated, but just look at total GDP. They can say factually it's not that bad, but it's like it's you know, again, it's you're putting lipstick on a pig. Yeah, it looks better than perhaps without lipstick, but it's still a pig. So those are two fronts that they're currently fighting. You've got a government that's trying to cover up for the fact that they fucked it, while at the same time still trying to maintain levels where the population doesn't collapse. Because the population turnaround where everyone just starts having babies doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time to convince people to have kids. And we have no infrastructure to do it. There are several catch-22s economically happening right now and socioeconomically right now that make it very difficult to steer the ship. It would be a very slow fucking corner to make. And so this is like a bit of a panic button that they're pressing. So largely self-prescribed.
Yep.
But nevertheless, it is the reality of where we're at. And now they're making shit decisions to try to make it seem like it's not as bad as it is.
People don't even have the confidence to have kids, man. They can't even afford to take care of themselves, let alone bring in a person in this world. And dudes can't even get their dicks hard. They're so fucking goddamn stressed.
I mean, literally the lowest sperm counts in like fucking history going on right now, probably exclusively from stress and diet is
literally.
Like yes. So, which is why every time I hear Elon talk about like the fact that it's not because people aren't making any money that we're not having kids, I want to fucking scream into a pillow.
Yeah, that's not it. It's part of it, but that ain't the main catalyst. I'll tell you that.
But it's a there's a lot going on, and that's what a lot of the immigration is doing. But when they're doing that, now you're seeing the knock-on effects of doing it too quickly, and through the channels that they're doing it, is they're dividing the country dramatically, while ironically in the liberal instance, trying to stand on a platform of unity and diversity. You know, why it's just a complete fucking 5-alarm fire. And again, Canada's not the only country in the world facing this. Pretty much every developed nation is facing these similar issues. It's just how are those individual countries handling those issues? That's what makes the difference. And right now, and for quite some time, because we've had this liberal government now for 9 going into the 10th year. It's clear there's only one person to point fingers at. This is not a situation where it's like the conservatives were in, then the liberals were in for one term, and now we're going back to conservatives. We've had 2.5 terms of this exact same liberal government. So there's only one. So to say that it is as aggressive as it is, the liberal, like Jeff said, the liberal fox is, it's when it comes to the liberal government specifically, it's accurate. It is entirely on the shoulders of the liberal government. They've been there before COVID. They've been there after COVID. They were in before COVID for a long time to set up the economy in the place that it was before COVID, and they've been there a long time after COVID to try to correct the course. And they fucked it before, and they
even
fucked
threw
it
an
after.
election during COVID.
Yes,
that sneaky little snake fuck. I mean, this guy is. I mean, this is nepotism at its finest, dude. Justin Trudeau might actually be the worst prime minister we have ever fucking had in our entire life.
It's not nepotism, however, it is.
Well, it is his fucking the position he's been put in. Sure as shit
is. It's.
Because that guy can't govern. That guy can't do shit.
It's not nepotism, but it is fucking stupid. I mean, he abused the system to stay in power longer. And, like I said before, ages ago now, when his wife left him, I said, there's a reason she left him. He's still in politics. There's a reason she left him. This man has lost the plot. He is all in, doubling and tripling down on every poor political decision that he has made since he's gone in. And she can't stand him anymore. She's leaving his ass. And he's still in it. Still going. And he still wants to be the guy running for the leader of the Liberal Party, which won't happen. But you don't just have your family fall apart while the country you're leading is falling apart. And there's not something going on there with the guy. So I mean, it is a shit show. But Canada, we will be fine. It'll be okay. Everyone is fighting the same kind of a thing. All we can do is vote, and then continue to just honestly be as patient with the immigrants around us as we can be within reason. Not the bad apples. Fuck the bad apples. Send them home. But the rest of them that are here, and regardless of how they got here, if they're making an earnest effort and they're doing then just have to be patient with them.
Treat them as an equal. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. It just isn't their fault.
Exactly.
And we just have to. No matter how frustrating it gets. I mean, dude. Anyway, it is what it is. But let's end it there because we got some shit we got to do. But that woke me up. Say that.
Ace High coincidentally had what's the most recent thing that infuriated you in Canadian politics? Good news, Ace High. We didn't even get to it. We talked about it anyway.
We got you.
This is a quick one. Fritos, yay or nay? I'm a nay.
Nay. I'm a nay.
I'm a nay. Yeah.
I'm a nay.
Fritos ain't it. It's not. Nah. There's nothing. No. Nah. There ain't nothing.
Would I grab a handful? Would I grab a handful if it's there? Okay. But if there's other things there, I'm not grabbing any. I'm grabbing the other stuff.
You know what?
So.
I might not even grab any Fritos even if they're there.
Okay. Fair enough.
I gotta be honest. I don't even know if it's gonna be grabbed. This isn't like there's pizza that I don't like the toppings on, but I'm gonna eat it anyway because it's free pizza. I just don't even think I could bring myself to do the Fritos. We're gonna go cast some StarCraft. We'll see you guys later. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoyed it. What a fucking weird podcast this was. We'll see you guys next week. And until then, have a good morning, afternoon, or evening. Stay safe out there for the love of God. And peace.
Peace.